Hey everybody, it's Mickey Mykeworth again, talking to you about finishing up the 12-week year accountability group. I'm just over the moon. I mean, so many things have happened in just 84 days, and they've happened for you. So for those of you who were with me on any of the groups of the 12-week year, thank you. Thank you for taking the challenge. Thank you for being willing to be part of a community and for sharing yourself, for giving grace publicly. And what I like about giving grace in a group is that you learn from everybody else doing it and you learn how to do it for yourself. And it's a safe place to kind of grow. This round was particularly wow. We had a lot of people who have been able to build on the momentum of previous sessions. So one of the things that I really am really proud of in the 12-week year accountability groups is how many of you have consistently and persistently for over a year been willing to say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to pay attention to my own dreams. I'm going to learn how to do things for me, for the things that I want to have. I'm going to work on my business, or I'm going to work on my relationships, or I'm going to work on my house." That when you take the 12-week year, remember the 12-week year is a book and is a book that teaches a process. And then you put that book with this one, right, Mickey Mykeworth, and then you put those two together and you have the ability to make change and then be able to make movement. So the 12-week year is just a process. And then I'll walk you through that process from a prosperity mindset perspective. And what is a prosperity mindset, right? Prosperity is the ability to, my camera's moving here. So you and I are going to have to kind of buddy up here. That my cord is crazy. So we're going to go with this craziness. So there's your middle of the road magic. So in the 12-week year, what you're learning is a process. And you're learning that process, which is to say, how do I take 3 hours out of my schedule every single week? How do I actually take another hour out to just play? And how do I schedule play into my life? How do I take 3 hours to say, I got to get the business of the business of the business done of the things that I want to do? And you have to take 3 hours out every single week, and we want them in a 3 hour block. The people that succeed the most use a 3 hour block to go, let me just focus in on my writing or my thing or whatever. But you have to block out 3 hours a week for your stuff. And then we have an hour live in class. So this is going to take you 5 hours a week. So for those of you who are thinking, oh, I want to do an accountability group, it's 5 hours a week. And we give you a process to do them. Now, for those people who choose to ignore these, they end up coming back to them. So if you are someone who's like, yeah, I hate this, just try it because you're going to learn something from it. And sometimes what you're going to learn is that you're terrible at scorekeeping, that you're terrible at really looking at the numbers. And that's where you get emotional growth to go, why am I afraid to keep score? Why am I afraid? Why do I rebel against the strategies that work for me? It's different when you go, well, okay, I'm going to take this as inspiration and I'm going to build what works for me. That's very different. That usually happens in your second round. In your first round, we want you to keep track of this because there is just the scorecard and then there's this reflection. And this reflection is how you make greatness. And every week going, what did I do? What did I not do? What's working? What's not? That you see people talk about success leaves clues, and prosperity is a process. So when we're looking at a process, this right here, this reflection is the process that you need for prosperity. That you need to be able to look at something to say, oh, hey, what am I magnifying from? Prosperity is the ability for something to magnify. So what you're looking for is you're saying, look, I want these things that I've listed on my paper. I want these things to magnify in the next 84 days. The 12-week year is only 84 days. That's all the time we're spending together. So in those 84 days, I'm going to focus on these 3 items and I'm going to really look at how they magnify. Some of you are going to magnify those from a place of value. Some of you are going to manage those from your internal values. And then how do the goals and strategies I pick for things even apply to who I am as a person? And you actually have to do it a couple of times before you really get into the real generous part. So when we look at group, don't be afraid to come in, because these are, some people will know each other, and most of the time you're new to us. And there are multiple groups, multiple times, and they do cost money. And that's part of your buy-in. So thank you for paying the price, because the price is to say, I'm going to be somewhere that I can succeed, or that I will try something new, that I will stretch. And you will stretch, that everybody in group finds new support, new creativity, and you never know what it's from. And this last round, we saw people do things that had built momentum from time after time after time. And we also see people who have never spent an effort to show up fully engaged week after week. So there's something to learn from that. If you are not someone that shows up to something every single week to be engaged, this will be a new process for you. And it will be powerful in what you'll learn about yourself. So one of the things about engaging in a weekly group is that you learn something. You learn something about seeing someone 12 times that you just can't believe, after just seeing them for 4 or 5 times, that you are like, I love that person. Yeah, because these are people who aren't going to live in a trance, that they're willing to look at the hard things in their life, and they're looking to see what's fascinating about that. And that's why I want you to come. That's why I want you to come. So even if you don't know anyone, even if you've never done a group before, even if this feels a little wonky, even if you go, I don't like this kind of paperwork, do it anyway. Do it anyway. Because every person that has ignored this from time to time, or from session to session, every person that ignores this comes back to it, because it is the right tool. The 12-week year as a book, I'm not saying it's the best book ever. What I am saying is it is the most concise, easy to follow process that really gives people strategies for bigger items. So if you have done it already once or twice, reread the book. That the book gives you a lot of things. So sometimes you have to kind of edge yourself into greatness. So you might read the book in one quarter, you might do this in another quarter, you might do something else, but you want to keep edging that shoulder to lean in. And to lean in will really help you. And we don't do stuff outside of class. It's just show up. Just show up on Sundays. And it becomes a reminder to yourself that you matter, that the things that you want for yourself are valued, not valuable, valued. And in order to be valued, you have to pay your own dreams. You have to pay them with time, with accountability. You have to pay your dreams first. And that means you got to pay to play. So there's a big gumball machine of life out here. But the fact of the matter is there's no gumballs coming out of that machine unless you pop a quarter in. So those gumballs aren't going to magically fall out of the sky. You got to pay to play. And in order to pay to play, that means you got to show up. You got to find your pattern. You got to try some things. You got to fail at some stuff. And then you got to succeed at some stuff. And you have to do that in a way that you're not alone in a closet hiding. You have to do that where someone else is going, good job. Because sometimes just one other person going, oh, that's how you did it. Oh, those people in group, one of the things I love about all of you in group is you have, you're fearless of trying new things, that there's books you've read, that there's this entire group of people who all have their Mary Poppins magical bag of things that they're pulling out and they're tapping them in the chat box. You should read this book. You should like this thing. What about this quote? That it's not just, oh, I have to, whatever. You have to put in that one of the things that I love about all of you who have been in group is you put in. You put in your time, you put in your strengths, you put in your weaknesses, and it turned out perfect. So for those of you who have been with me for multiple sessions, that you've been with yourself for multiple sessions, I thank you because the progress is amazing. For those of you who are starting out, who are just kind of figuring it out, I also thank you for even watching this video. That's a step. That's a step. And the thing that you have to do every day is make time for your dreams and decide what you're going to magnify off of. And that's what accountability group does, is it gives you a little time with me that I get to love you just as you are. And it gives you a time with all of these other players and all of these other players that are coming from a prosperity mindset. So these are not broken, wounded birds hanging out. These are thoughtful, educated, lovely human beings, and we have a focused conversation. We're not veering off into the weeds here. We have 1 hour. You don't have much time. That's why the chat box moves forward, because the chat box in 1 hour we have over 100 things that people are saying. So there are lots of things that are very busy in that chat box because you're with other people who are moving things forward. So you're learning new stuff, you're bringing new stuff, and you're evolving. And that's what the 12-week year accountability group does. We are focused on that book. You have to read the book. And for many of you who are doing multiple sessions, you will find that you'll get something different out of every time you read the book. Now, I've had to read that book now 4 times. And each time I've read that book, I personally, even as the leader of the group, have gotten something different. So, and you will too. And you will too. So thank you. Thank you for being even watching this video. Thank you for saying there's something bigger for me. Thank you for dreaming in out loud. Thank you for saying, "Oh, I do have a charming life. Maybe I'll pay more attention to it. Maybe I'll pay more attention to it." And when you have someone who's done a lot of work, that they've done their values work and they know what they're magnifying from, right? What's the point you are magnifying from, right? What is it that you've written right there on the palm of your hand that says, oh, I'm going to be a speaker. I'm going to be an author. I'm a lawyer. I'm an artist. I'm this person. I want to do this. I want to take more pictures. I want to have a clean house. Whatever this dot is that you've written down as that goal, how are you going to magnify from it? And that's what the 12-week year does, is it says, let me build a strategy, and then let me start the task lists. And then let me do that with a group of people who are going to clap for me. And that little thing that somebody says that types in, go, whatever, just you telling your story. We are storytelling beings. And just you telling your story is exciting. And it's a little cosm, it's just this little ball collective that changes all the time, that's only there for that moment. So if you miss it, you miss it. I don't record them, and I don't record them for a reason, because you have to show up. That's part of the lesson of grace, is you have to show up. And for those of you who don't miss, that's an achievement, to say, wow, I show up. I show up with me. I listen to these other people and I share my truth. And I listen to what they have to say, not because they're the best speaker, but because it's their turn to speak. And it's their journey too. And that is a form of grace, is honoring someone else's journey as you're honoring your own. And that is the most precious thing we could do, is to share our life. It is precious time. So don't take it lightly, because it will fill your heart in a way that nothing else can. Now, I'm a huge believer in it, because I watch all of you change your life. And I'm not tired of that. So I'm going to give it a run again in 2025. I'm going to give it my Sundays again for you, and I'm going to make time for you because I love watching. I love watching this magic. It's just lovely, and it's always better when we're together. It's always better when we're together. So with that, please come in. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for all the work that you did this year. And we are closing out the year for the 12-week year. And we have every kind of goal that's been achieved. But the largest goal that I am the most proud of out of every single participant has been grace. And that piece of grace, you get to leave this calendar year and know that you rocked this. And that right there is the gift you gave yourself, and the year's not even done. And the year isn't even done. But you got that gift. You gave that to yourself. So when you're in 12-week year, it's not about what you're going to get. It's about what you're going to give. And what are you going to give yourself? And that is worth it. All right. I'll see you all next year because that's fun. That's going to be fun. Bye.